They say loyalty is a choice, but for me, it was a death sentence I didn't know I'd signed. For 3 years, I was the rock, the provider, and the man who gave up everything to build a future for a woman who was secretly tearing it all down. But the real nightmare didn't start with a fight. It started with a smile, a positive pregnancy test, and a secret that was about to blow my world into a million jagged pieces. Before we continue, do me a favor and hit that subscribe button. Thank you. I'm 28, and for the last 3 years, Emily was my entire world. I was the steady tech support guy, reliable, always planning ahead, and she was the free-spirited marketing girl who made my life feel like it finally had a pulse. From the moment we met, I was all in. When she lost her job during a rough patch 2 years ago, I didn't think twice. I covered the rent for months, picked up extra shifts, and even turned down a career-defining promotion because she wasn't ready to move. I thought we were a team. I remember her looking at me after a long day and saying, "You're the best thing that's ever happened to me." I believed her. I was even saving up for a ring, stashing away bits of my paycheck every month. Everything felt like it was leading to a perfect climax when, 6 months ago, Emily sat me down on our couch. She had a spark in her eyes and told me the 2 words every committed man dreams of hearing: "I'm pregnant." I was beyond overjoyed. I hugged her so tight, babbling about nursery colors and doctor's appointments. That night, I couldn't sleep. I was already researching the best strollers and paternity leave options. I even bought a little onesie that said "Future Adventure Awaits." I promised her, with my hand on her belly, that I'd be the best father she could imagine. But as the weeks went by, the joy started to feel like a facade. Emily became distant. She was always on her phone, hiding the screen when I walked in. She'd skip the prenatal checkups I offered to attend, waving me off with a cold, "It's just routine, babe." Then came the nights she'd stay out late, coming home smelling faintly of a cologne that definitely wasn't mine. When I'd ask if she was okay, she'd snap at me for hovering. I told myself it was just the stress of the pregnancy. I walked on eggshells, cooking her favorite meals and rubbing her feet, while she looked at me like I was a stranger she was forced to tolerate. Then came a quiet Tuesday evening. I walked through the door with bags of groceries, planning to cook a special dinner for her cravings. Emily was sitting at the kitchen table, her face blank and her eyes fixed on me with a terrifying, detached stare. She didn't say hello. She just gestured to the chair across from her and said, "We need to talk. Sit down." The air in the room suddenly felt like ice. As I sat down, my heart hammering against my ribs, I had no idea that the woman I loved was about to pull the trigger on our entire life together. I sat there, the bags of groceries still sitting on the counter, as she leaned back and crossed her arms. Her face wasn't full of tears or guilt. It was cold, almost smug. "I've been seeing someone else," she said, her voice steady. "Jake, from work. It's been going on for a few months now. He gets me in ways you just don't. With you, it's just safe. Predictable." The room started to spin. I gripped the edge of the table so hard my knuckles turned white. "But the baby," I managed to choke out. "Our baby, how could you?" That's when she dropped the hammer. She looked me dead in the eye and said, "It might be yours. It might be his. I don't know for sure yet, but I know you'll stick around to find out. You're a good guy like that." I felt like I'd been punched in the gut. She wasn't even asking for forgiveness. She was telling me I was the backup plan. She told me Jake was fun, but he wasn't the type to step up like I was. She actually expected me to keep rubbing her feet and paying her bills while she carried a child that might belong to the man she'd been sleeping with behind my back. I didn't explode. I didn't yell. Something inside me just died. I stood up in total silence and started unpacking the groceries, my mind racing. For the next few weeks, I became a ghost in my own home. I moved my things to the spare room without a word. I canceled the orders for the stroller and the crib. Emily noticed the shift. She'd roll her eyes and tell me to lighten up, saying it wasn't the end of the world. She truly believed her hold over me was so strong that I'd eventually just cave. We went to the clinic for a non-invasive prenatal paternity test. The car ride was silent. The waiting room was suffocating. We had to wait 7 days for the results. 7 days of living with a woman who had mocked my loyalty to my face. The email arrived while I was sitting at my desk at work. My hand shook as I clicked the notification. I scrolled past the legal jargon until I saw the only words that mattered. Probability of paternity, 0%. I wasn't the father. A wave of relief washed over me, followed by a cold, sharp clarity. The chains were gone. I called her from the parking lot, my voice as level as a heartbeat monitor. The results are in, I told her. It's not mine. I'm forwarding the report now. There was a long, sharp intake of breath on the other end. What? That can't be right. Let me see it. I hung up. I didn't realize it then, but the storm was only just beginning, because while I was finally free, Emily's world was about to catch fire. The silence following that phone call was the loudest thing I'd ever heard. For Emily, that 0% wasn't just a number. It was the sound of her safety net snapping. Within 24 hours, the exciting life she'd built with Jake turned into a graveyard. I found out later that as soon as she sent in the results, he didn't offer support or a shoulder to cry on. He sent a 2-sentence text. Not my problem. We were just having fun. Then, he blocked her on everything. The fun guy didn't want the diapers, the late-night feedings, or the drama. He just wanted the version of Emily that belonged to me. Suddenly, the apartment felt like a pressure cooker. Emily went from smug and detached to frantic and broken. She'd spend all day on the couch, the same place she'd told me she cheated, now crying and clutching her stomach. But I wasn't the man who would be moved by those tears anymore. I was already packing. Every time I taped a box shut, it sounded like a gavel hitting a desk. Case closed. But Emily wasn't done. She realized her marketing job's maternity leave wouldn't cover the life she wanted, and the office gossip mill was already shredding her reputation. She pivoted back to me with a desperation that was honestly sickening. She'd follow me from room to room as I packed my books. I know I messed up, she'd sob, but the baby is innocent. You were so happy 3 weeks ago. Doesn't that mean anything? You're the only one who can help me. When that didn't work, she tried to weaponize my own character against me. She showed up in my office lobby a week later, her belly more pronounced, her eyes puffy. In front of my coworkers, she whispered, "If you walk away now, you're not the man I thought you were." A real man would step up. Jake is a coward, but you're better than this. I looked at her, and for the first time, I didn't see the woman I'd spent 3 years protecting. I saw a stranger trying to sell me a debt that wasn't mine to pay. I just set my coffee down and said, "Emily, being a real man means having the self-respect to leave a woman who treated my loyalty like a weakness. Good luck with Jake's child." Then came the toxic reinforcements. Her family, people who had barely checked in on us for years, suddenly had a lot to say. Her sister, Mia, called me screaming that I was heartless and that family is family, regardless of biology. Her mother sent a barrage of texts calling me a coward for leaving a pregnant woman high and dry. The final straw was a call from her father, a man I used to respect. His voice was gruff, trying to sound authoritative. "Son," she's struggling. "The bills are stacking up. You need to be the bigger person here. Come home and help her get through the birth. We could talk about the rest later." I took a deep breath, feeling the weight of 3 years of sacrifices finally lifting off my shoulders. "Sir," I said, "my responsibility ended the moment she chose another man's bed over our future. I'm not the bigger person by letting you all use me as a financial band-aid. I'm a free man. Do not call me again." I blocked them all. Every single one. I moved into a quiet studio across town. No more eggshells. No more cologne that wasn't mine. No more lies. I started hitting the gym, poured myself into my work, and eventually got that promotion, the one I'd turned down for her. A few months ago, I heard through mutual friends that she had the baby. She's living back with her parents now, struggling to make ends meet, still trying to sue Jake for child support while he ducks every process server in the city. People ask me if I'm angry. I'm not. Anger is an emotion you waste on people who matter. Emily is just a lesson I learned the hard way. I'm 29 now, I'm thriving, and I've finally started dating someone who knows that loyalty isn't a choice you make when it's convenient. It's the foundation of everything. I didn't lose a family. I escaped a prison, and as I sit on my new balcony, watching the sunset over a city that feels full of possibility again, I realize that the future adventure I was so excited about, it finally started. But this time, I'm the one in the driver's seat. Hit that subscribe button and turn on a notification bell so that you would be notified when the next video drops. See you there. Peace out.